Welcome to my channel, to all my fantastic friends. The upcoming Third World War. The purpose of this prophecy in this video is not to make you feel worried or to lower your vibration, but to alert you and prepare you for what is to come. Unfortunately, only the ones who foresee the events unfolding are gonna be the ones who will be prepared for this insane evil plan, which the elites are being prepared for the longest time. In the next following video, I'm gonna place several predictions, different prophecies being made about the Third World War. So stay tuned. We also need to check the reality of humanity. That is a possibility. And we need to ask ourselves why the prophecies were given by numerous times around the world and to different people. It's obvious that it's to alert of what's coming and that the governments around the world have thousands of nuclear weapons at hand, and unfortunately we pay for it, knowing that a maniac with serious mental issues can press the nuclear weapon button, which can trigger a ripple effect, detonating different nuclear weapons in different cities and countries around the world. Unfortunately, politicians are puppets of the show and only follow orders from the real players behind this insane plan. If we take away the prophecies and contemplate the actual situation all over the news, we find tensions and the threats from one side to another side. In common sense, we need to contemplate the possibility of a war manifested only by being logic. Undoubtedly, the existence of these prophecies that anticipate and warn us that a big event like this will happen in our frame of time, determined time, with these existing weapons that now we have to acknowledge reality of facts that we have to confront, not with fear, but with our eyes really open to notice that this is really happening, and that is when these prophecies are useful. Not useful to tell us what we are already seeing, but to provide us with information on what to do against it. And even if that happens, we could have the tools to survive. On what to do in order to survive, not by hiding on bunkers or saving tons of food and digging yourself out after the war in a few years, ending up all alone, just like in the movies. Basic necessities are essential, but if we don't change our primitive way of thinking, we're gonna be killing each other for anything, including food. That's why we need to change mentally and spiritually in order to prepare, because the elite's main goal is to exterminate life and depopulate the masses. And in order to win, we need to modify the results, not by fighting, but by surviving, which the main goal is to kill all types of life. With this, we will begin. So keep calm and watch the prophecies. knowing that the root of the prophecies is in the book of Revelations, with Jesus being the main source of the prophecies. As he said, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in different places. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. For then the great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. In here we can see that Jesus is warning us about this upcoming war that will be the worst that ever faced humanity because of the amount of destruction. We need to take in consideration that all the prophecies are from a extraterrestrial source, since they can bend time and space, and therefore foresee our future. With this in mind, we will continue with the prophecies of Paravicini, which are truly shocking prophecies, considering that he made thousands of psychographies, which are drawings and paragraphs which tend to foretell our future, as you saw on my previous videos. As his forecasts very accurate sequence of events that already happened, way before it happened, just like the one in New York City with the Twin Towers, and also the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bomb, and the virus we face now. Saying that sore throat will be the beginning of the world plague. With that in mind, we need to pay attention to the upcoming prophecies, which it reads as following. Humanity marches into chaos. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. We are indeed marching into dangerous times. In the drawing we see that humanity is blind. Also, Paravicini points out that multiple times that this upcoming war will be nuclear. With that in mind, we will read the next psychography, and it reads as follows. The sun explosions arrives. He will deliver war. Men will go mad, and chaos will be to nullify the chaos of men. Chaos of God against the chaos of men. Benjamin Solari Paravicini, 1938. Here Paravicini points out that these two types of chaos, the chaos of men, meaning the war, and the chaos of God, meaning the cataclysm. In here he points out that the chaos of God will save humanity from extinction, meaning that the war will be the extinction level event, if not stop, because of the cataclysm will be so big that the war won't make sense anymore. Saying that people will stop fighting after realizing what's coming. Next one reads as follows. The unseen war, without being declared, the world will live through it without seeing it and will get used to it. Labyrinth of costumes will blind until the great thunder comes. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. This iconography is at least halfway through at this moment and was made in 1949, so pay attention to the next one. And it reads as follows. 3 wars. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. Meaning the Third World War. The next psychography reads as follows. The atomic age is coming. Russia already plays with it. Without knowing it, after the wars, he will come and he will make war. And the war of war, fire of fires, it will be. Benjamin Solari Paravicini, 1937. Here we need to see the reality of facts that Russia already has the most nuclear arsenal in the world. Next psychography reads as follows. War arrives. Benjamin Solari Paravicini, 1938. Here we see that the psychography points of a nuclear explosion somewhere in America. Next psychography reads as follows. China, Russia will be the beginning of the invading overflow to Latin America. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. Here we see already economic and trades with Russia and China, especially in Latin America, already happening at the present moment. Next psychography reads as follows. China, Russia, advancing on America. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. As we can see in the map here, China here is really advancing on Latin America. Next psychography reads as follows. The world will be deaf in 66. Then chaos will arise in Latin America, which will then spread to the world that does not listen. Humanity will succumb in struggles. Next psychography reads as follows. The war of the three will launch anger in disagreements. They will see without seeing. They will act without acting well. They will be destroyed in the end. In this psychography, we see already, as far as we concern, the war that is happening at this moment, that they are, instead of bringing peace, they're bringing more and more military equipment and creating more weapons. Also, if you look careful at the drawing, and you notice they having a heated discussion in a table. And if you take a look careful, he's pointing at an Asian guy. And beside it, a guy that is wearing a Russian hat. Next psychography reads as follows. The world powers short-sighted. They will be crippled hopelessly, and the powers will roll into atomic madness. Chaos. In this psychography, pretty much it says that the world powers will be using nuclear weapons to exterminate innocent people who had nothing to do with the war. I'm not too sure about this, but the hairstyles in the psychography is kind of similar to the one described in Paravicini. If that's the case, those people are going to commit some serious genocide. As we reflect in this, we could clearly see that it's obvious that their intentions aren't very nice. Not only it will harm humanity, but the whole planet as well, making them not so smart after all. Next psychography reads as follows. The world turns towards 2002. The atomic bomb arrives without a solution and will finally explode. The current attitude of the nations when saying and speaking of peace is not true. They trade with organized warfare. They frighten with the blue fungus, believing that it will never come to blow, but of the tough, jealous will say, okay, and in obfuscation will do it. After end of finals, beginning of beginning, light. Prophecy of 1960. In this iconography, we really need to pay attention of what is being said, and it's warning us about nuclear explosions being used, and it says about Asian people using them first. Next iconography reads as follows: fire, hunger, pestilence, death, repeats the righteous bell that approaches the world. Even more so, the world does not listen, nor does see it. Here it comes the darkness of the dragon that seemed asleep. Here it comes the terror of the bear with fake love and brotherhood. Here it comes the humble Democrat who never was, and with him poverty and the homeless, and with them all the explosions of disintegration. Here it comes the darkness and then the light from the south and the cross. Here Paravicini is specifying about the countries being involved in the war. The dragon meaning China, because that's the only country that uses the dragon. And the bear being Russia, and so on, with US, the Democrat, and Latin America, the light. Because according to Paravicini, in South America will be the remnants of the survivors that will establish a new evolutionary civilization in the future, taking in consideration that is no nuclear weapons in Latin America, making it the safest despite the economic situation. Next iconography involves this current time, which reads as follows: see there at any moment the Russians will be thrown into feudalism. No, one will hold them closer, but their instinct will be alarmingly overridden. No friendly souls there must fall and will succumb, and Russia will free itself from the evil that afflicted it. Russia will finally be conquered by Russia itself, and a new Russia will be. The bossy will fall from there, and the one who is most entrenched will roll until the anonymity of the dead will also roll. An insignificant man will find a name mount, and they will laugh at him. But one day of so many that Russia will have to hide. The little man will make a leap, which will give the world a scare, and then Russia will succumb as antisocial. Russia will live in good. And for the good, year 1940, Benjamin Solari Paravicini. In here we see that Paravicini long psychography is referring at the current situation we face at the moment, talking about the feudalism that is the dominant system and political power. With this in mind, we notice that Paravicini was right, noticing that all the millionaires, oligarchs from Russia are losing their power, leaving people free from control. All of this is happening because currently Russian millionaires are losing their assets. Next iconography reads as follows: the man will be with the yellow, brown, and black finger, who will destroy continents. The grateful exterminator will arise, and the explosion of 1,000 explosions will deafen, and the sun will go down. Begins of 6-6. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. In this iconography, we see the similarity of the drawings of the invasion of America that the maps that Andrew Wingate draw with in accordance with Paravicini. These maps show clearly insane takeover from Mexico and Canada towards the US. The arrows show the way of the invasion, and the stars show the areas destroyed by missiles. The yellow areas with the gray dots show areas that will be invaded and occupied. As you might know, these evil plans have been in plain sight way before it happened, yet people are unaware, including the Third War. Up next, I'm going to place a video that was made by Jonathan Clark, which clearly showed the elite's future evil plans, which is on the US money. Due to music copyrights, I couldn't place the video, but you can check the video on YouTube if you search Jonathan Clark. And as you can see, as he explains, if you follow like this, you could clearly see all over the back of the US money their evil plans since the Oklahoma City bomb and the Twin Towers explosions. As we can see clearly in the back of the $100 verse, we can see two missiles going down.
The $100 bill has come out, the new $100 bill. This is urgent, viral, get it out. I'm going to enlarge it. There you go. This is all water splashing up. This is a missile right here. There are the fins of the missile. Here's the fuselage of the missile and the head of the missile impacting into the water. This ink represents the water going up and a nuke. Watch as I change the magnification. Ready? There it is. There it is. There you go. That's what's coming. Now all you have to do is go watch the DVD we did, Destruction of America or Crowning the Tyrant. And you'll see other images on the U.S. currency that have all been hidden right in front of your face. But if you look, there it all is. See the different layers of ink? Watch there's the missile hitting. There it is going in. There's the water coming up and the nuke beginning. There it is. All right, also on this bill, there's this blue stripe. It's a hologram. What it is, if I move it around, it's the Liberty Bell and it's ringing. If you move a hologram, the hologram moves. So if there was a clangor in there and it's going like this, what would it be doing? It would be going ding, 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 ding. They are sounding their alarm. This bill is a vehicle to distribute their plans. That's what they're doing. These are their plans to nuke the United States. It's Satan's plan, by the way, Satan and the fallen angels. But we have members of our government who have been taken over by demonic spirits, and they're part of this. There it is. This blue line, it also represents a water event, and it's the bell ringing. They're ringing the bell, and I'm ringing the bell. That's what my name means. Yahweh is given a bell ringer. So I'm sounding the alarm. Prepare yourselves. I don't know the hour, the day, the month, or the year, but I'm telling you it's coming no matter what. In the story, folks, get ready. Jesus is coming. So is the end. World War III is upon us. It's the Liberty Bell, and it's ringing.
As we continue with Paravicini, he did point out that the Third World War will begin with a conflict in the Caribbean. Saying so, we will begin, and it reads as follows. Cuba, the ideal place of tourists, will be raised in disasters. It will be of the bear, and the bear on his head will remain for 5 times. Then a cluster of surprise will surprise it. There will be blood, blood and fire, and death, and then nothing. Here we see that the psychography is currently correct, since Russia and Cuba is being in a relation since the Soviet Union, as well as Russia having military base in Cuba. Up next psychography reads as follows. The war in the East without rest will set the tone for the end of 6-6. The 6-6 man will look in the mirror and will want to die, but he will not be able to. The explosion arrives in the Antilles, and Benjamin Solari Paravicini. In here he talks about the war in the Middle East is being since the longest time we know as far since ancient times due to religious beliefs and dogma. Unfortunately, these tiny countries that hate each other will be the detonator for the Third World War. The explosion that Paravicini points out in the Antilles, meaning the Caribbean, will set the beginning of the atomic explosions between the world powers. Next psychography reads as follows. Russia and North America will come closer through the nautical terms of the ether. They will see an escape in the flight towards the stars. There will be nothing to contain them. A yellow strike will do it. Antilles will be fire of fires. And then it will spread. Benjamin Solari Paravicini, 1940. Next psychography says as follows. Communist China march in the world. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. In here we see that it's true. There's a lot of Chinese influence all over the world. Next psychography reads as follows. The Mandarin songs will be listened to with pleasure and will be sung by the Latin countries. Chaos. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. In here, Paravicini is really making us put attention when that song plays. Will be a warning of the big event coming. Previous events leading to the Third World War, including the next one that reads as follows. China and Russia will start the evils of evils, final cataclysm of endings. Benjamin Solari Paravicini. Meaning that China and Russia will be the ones inducing towards the Third World War, so we better watch out. Up next are the prophecies of Enrique Castillo Rincon, who got the prophecies for the Third World War from the people from the Pleiades. He was also featured in Ancient Aliens Season 13 on Chapter 7. He also made a book about it, which contains information about the Third World War and as well as information of spiritual level. Saying so, I will read some of the parts that are in the book about the war, and it reads as follows. We are here because we know about the calamities that will overrun planet Earth. One of them, the Third World War. It is not far away. We know the date, but we cannot interfere. it will be against what you call free will. You must learn to live in peace and harmony, but you have to do it by yourselves, and that implies gaining a new level of conscience. A third world war is inevitable. Men will have a 4-year grace period to attend to attenuate it, in accordance with their mental behavior. Only the mental state of mankind can ease its effects. It is squarely your problem. Page 67 of the contact from the book. The Great War will be preceded by a shorter one, which will leave open wounds for the big one. At first, no nuclear weapons will be used. All will happen while peace talks are on the way, and at the beginning of agreement will have been found. But there will be a traitor. A small unimportant conflict, perhaps in the East, will become uncontrollable and will fire the detonator involving the so-called big powers. Politicians and governments will not think about the consequences, derive for the intransigence and little contact with the reality of facts. And how should we prepare? There will be a period of grace for humanity. It is a time corresponding to your own chronology. You have a long period of time in error. This somehow has served to protect the prophecies, making them difficult to place in time. These years will serve to attenuate the conflict and help some better prepare. Pay much attention to the environmental changes, the ozone layer, the weakness of your leaders, and the lack of credibility, the loss of religious values, which the religions claim to have, the growth of crime, and the lack of countermeasures against it. No government on earth will be able to win the battle against crime and insecurity. This will be obvious. After the war, there will be remnants. At these places, thousands of people will survive the effects, not only the radiation, but other parallel hazards. Thus humanity, with its power and dominion seal, will cause much destruction, and a change in the Earth's rotation axis. Climate changes will occur in many countries, making life difficult. Unfortunately, the more alert spirits who will detect the upcoming preliminary changes will not be believed. To the contrary, they will be ridiculed. An incident will take place in the Orient that will have resonance at the diplomatic level, then extended to Europe and then Asia. It is quite possible that this could be avoided, thanks to the good judgment of two Latin men. This probably will take place when safer peace treaties are signed, and men will feel safer and protected. One of the signals for identification of these times will be when several Latin American countries will be almost bankrupt and dare to protest. The world leaders will take advantage of them mercilessly and will force their conditions upon them. This will not take many years. Absolutely all the political and religious organizations will collapse. From the book UFOs, A Great New Dawn for Humanity by Enrique Castillo Ricón from Our Cosmic Friends. This video is not meant to steal information. I want to make that clear. All rights are reserved to the original owners, and this video is not for profit. Taking in consideration that this information was given to Enrique Castillo Rincón, who decided to publish a book to inform humanity. This information was given to all humanity, therefore should be allowed to be shared without distorting the original message. Up next, the prophecies of Mother Shifton. She predicted the Great Plague in 1965. the invasion of the Spanish Armada, the attack of Henry VII, and much, much more. She lived in a small English village at the beginning of the 16th century. The prophecy reads as follows. Allah's war will come from where the Turks and pagans live, who will bury themselves in a fierce quarrel. When the north separates from the south, and the eagle is with the lion's jaws, ardent blood will come to every home. Yellow people will receive great mighty power, bear who they will help. The tyrants won't be able to divide the world into these actions, will be very dangerous, and the intermittent fever will leave behind many deaths. Prophecy of Mother Shifton, late 1500s. Here we can see a clearly astonishing similarities concerning about the Third World War between Paravicini and Mother Shifton, including the countries that will be in it, like US and Russia and China attacking the US. As we see that is really happening, as China and Russia becoming allies, it's crystal clear that we are not far away from the Third World War, taking in consideration that the old nuclear weapons are not even compared to the new ones, therefore making them much more destructive. We need to be aware that the force that dominates the planet Earth isn't human, because nobody in their right mind will create a weapon to exterminate their own kind unless they were truly insane. Survival areas and other prophecies didn't make it in this video due to the long duration. So stay tuned for Third World War second part. Thank you for surfing and riding along with me in this video. May you live later!